iPhone 14 release, which current iPhones will be discontinued. Here's what could happen when the new iPhone arrives. The new iPhone 14 arrives sometime this fall. iPhone 14 release date speculation suggests that the phones will appear in September, meaning you'll have a choice of new Apple smartphones in just a few months. But to make room for the 4 new models we're expecting Apple to release, some current iPhones will likely disappear from Apple's lineup. And that includes some of the best iPhones you can buy right now. Apple's playbook in recent years is to keep around a few older models at reduced prices as a way to appeal to shoppers who balk at paying the full cost for a brand new iPhone. That could be especially critical this time around, as some new phones, specifically the iPhone 14 Pro models, could see a price hike from their iPhone 13 counterparts. If you're familiar with Apple, you know the company doesn't disclose anything about its future product plans, right up until the moment that it's ready to announce new phones. That hasn't changed with the build-up to this year's iPhone 14 release. And the rumor mill has been quiet about Apple's planned iPhone lineup beyond the iPhone 14 models. We would expect an uptick in rumors right before the iPhone 14 launch, though. In the meantime, we can review Apple's recent history to make some guesses about which phones are likely to stick around at reduced prices and which could be harder to find come the fall. Here's what we think Apple's future iPhone lineup will look like once the iPhone 14 arrives. Apple's current iPhone lineup. Before we proceed with what Apple's post-iPhone 14 launch plans will be, let's review what Apple's current phone offerings look like. We're restricting this to the devices currently on sale at Apple, along with their starting prices. Additional older iPhones may be available at select retailers and phone carriers, but we're only considering what Apple makes available for sale. iPhone 13 Pro Max, $1,099. iPhone 13 Pro, $999. iPhone 13, $799. iPhone 13 mini, $699. iPhone 12, $699. iPhone 12 mini, $599. iPhone 11, $499. iPhone SE, $429. That's 8 models in total, with only one, the iPhone SE 2022, having been released in the last calendar year. iPhone 14. What models are coming in the fall? Rumors have tipped us off about the new models Apple is working on as part of this year's iPhone release. We're expecting 4 new phones: an iPhone 14, an iPhone 14 Pro, an iPhone 14 Pro Max and an iPhone 14 Max. The first 3 models will have the same screen sizes as their iPhone 13 equivalents, though the Pro versions could ditch the iPhone's famous notch for cutouts that house the front camera and Face ID sensors. That 4th phone, the iPhone 14 Max, would be a new model for Apple. It's expected to include a 6.7-inch display like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but its other features. The number of cameras, available storage, the design and the processor used are rumored to mirror the standard iPhone 14. The inclusion of the iPhone 14 Max means the end of the line for the compact mini iPhone, which has been part of the iPhone 13 and iPhone 12 lineups. Both iPhone minis released by Apple remain on sale. While Apple doesn't break down sales figures by model, it's reported that the Mini is Apple's least popular iPhone, which might explain why it's not sticking around for an iPhone 14 version. The reported lack of sales may also influence Apple's decision on which models will remain part of its phone lineup in a post-iPhone 14 world. Which current iPhone models could disappear from Apple's lineup? Assuming rumors of 4 new iPhone 14 models pan out, we can expect Apple to thin out the current iPhone lineup to make room for the latest handsets. Any phones that would cannibalize sales of new iPhone 14s would likely be the first to go. That means the iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13 Pro Max are probably living on borrowed time. Since iPhone started with the Pro and Pro Max models in the iPhone lineup back in 2019, it's never kept either version around for more than a year. The iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max, forerunners to the Pro Max naming convention, also dropped out of the lineup once the iPhone 11 launched. Apple also rarely keeps phones longer than 3 years after their release date. The iPhone 11, unveiled in September 2019, is rapidly approaching its sell-by date, so it's a pretty safe bet that it's getting cycled out of the lineup this fall.